I think it's good to prepare them for that, like to just know and to know that it's okay and that it's not a failure because something isn't working out, or because something isn't going according to plan. Or even, if a plan fails, it doesn't mean you're a failure.
So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Hey everyone, I am so thrilled to have the honor to introduce you to this segment of Mom and Mind Summit. And you're in for a big treat because Jennifer is one of my best friends in the entire world. She is someone I respect so much. And when I thought about the topics that would really help in this summit of what do moms need to hear, especially moms who are running a business, maybe you're working inside the home, outside the home, no matter who you are, moms are always working hard. And Jennifer is no exception to that. She runs a very successful creator business in many different ways. I'll let her explain that to you. But she also is a mother of 3 and she homeschools, which already I'm like, I bow to you. That is a huge feat. And she does it with so much grace and fun, and she's amazing. So Jennifer, please introduce yourself and fill in the gaps that I missed.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Camille. Honestly, I think you did a great job. Yeah, I'm a mom of 3. I feel like that's as cliche as it sounds, like the most important thing I do. It's really fun. I'm a content creator. I used to work as a journalist. That's what I went to college for. I went to BYU, studied broadcast journalism, and my dream was to be a journalist. And I finished school and got a job in Austin, Texas, and got to be a news anchor and reporter for several years, and I loved it so much. Then I had a couple of kids and things like schedules got crazy, working weekends all the time. I had also concurrently, while I was working as a reporter, started a blog, and it was kind of like my fun creative outlet to write and not have to worry about okay, I can't insert my opinion here because as a journalist, we had to be non-partial and everything. So it was like my creative outlet. I started it very anonymously in the beginning. It was just kind of funny and I shared it between friends, but then it just kept growing throughout the years, and Instagram came along and I kind of already had a following, and now I'm somehow still working as a content creator, and I feel like I'm just lucky enough to still be in this because I love storytelling and sharing our family story and stuff online. So I mostly do that on Instagram, but I'm also on TikTok and the other things too. Our family loves movies, and that's a big part of my content. I feel like I share a lot of family movie reviews and things like that. And a couple, I guess 3 years ago now, we launched the Family Movie Night Journal. So that's been a fun project that we've worked on too. We have a journal that our family uses every week to write down the movie we watch for Family Movie Night. Like tonight, it's my oldest daughter's turn to pick the movie, and we were writing in the journal our reviews and how we rank them and special memories and stuff each night. And it's been fun seeing other families bring it into their homes and use it as well and have that tradition together. So that's it in a nutshell. I feel like my journey has kind of been all over the place, but consistent and just having fun and storytelling in our own way.
Yeah. And you do that so well, where it's very genuine. People connect with you without ever having met you. And that is such a unique capability, especially online, where there's a lot of noise and you want to make sure you have a sense of who someone really is, and you model it so beautifully. So that's why this topic of modeling entrepreneurship and goal setting is so perfect for you, because you have modeled it so beautifully. And she's being very modest here by saying, oh, I'm just a content creator, because there's nothing just about Jennifer. She is killing it financially in terms of setting major financial goals for herself and her family, and even prepping for her family's financial future in terms of education and opportunities, and helping them to understand the importance of working hard for themselves, which is, I think, one of the best things about it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's so
So
sweet.
let's talk about this a little bit. So modeling entrepreneurship and goal setting as a parent, why is that important to you?
I think entrepreneurship, I honestly never set out to do that. I just kind of fell into it, like writing on a blog. And then I was like, oh, people want to pay me to do this. And, I never set out to like, I'm going to be a business owner. And I think even if I went back and told my younger self, like, you're going to have your own business someday, I'd be like, no way. That sounds so boring. But I lucked out that I am doing it in a way that's like really fun. And, but now, I mean, I definitely have a different perspective, like having my own business and learning about just navigating the world from a different point of view. Like I kind of always thought I'd work for someone else and, get my like bi-monthly paycheck and that's great. And like my husband does that and he loves that. Like that is his vibe that he rolls with. But now I'm kind of in a position where I'm like, I don't know if I could go back to that. And I think it's nice that, my kids kind of get to see a little bit of both because I think our kids will like have totally different paths. I mean, they're all so different from each other and have completely different personalities. I could definitely see my oldest wanting to go some kind of entrepreneurial creative route because she just is so like similar to me and like kind of all over the place a little bit, but also like she has so many different interests and she like is studying cosmetology right now. And she also like just loves video editing and different things. So I could definitely see her wanting to have her own business someday. And I just think it's nice to have more options and to like know that truly anything is possible and that like not to put your own limits on yourself. And I think that's something that I didn't really understand growing up, that, you don't have to like look a certain way to have your own business, or you don't have to go to business school to have your own business. You can like just fall into it. Literally. I feel like, is what I did. It can start from anywhere. And I imagine it could be even better if you have some sort of plan. So, for me, it's really just about, my kids understanding that they can do whatever it is that they want to do. And, there's a lot of things out there for them.
Mm-hmm. I feel like modeling the behavior is for kids. I actually was watching an interview with John Deloney, which is a friend, and I really appreciate everything that he has to say. And it was talking about teaching your kids how to be a gentleman and to treat women with respect. And his response kind of surprised me. He said, you can't teach your boys that, you have to model it. It's not something you teach them. Mm-hmm. And I think that very much applies to our children, seeing women holding different roles and titles, especially as entrepreneurs, because it's not always this perfect planned out cut and paste. This is what you do and this is how it's done. However, I like that you aren't a perfectly planned person, and yet you've been massively successful. So that's where I'm like, okay, I want to pick the weeds of that a little bit. Like, what does that look like for you as a creative, where you've been able to set really amazing goals, but also be able to like roll with the flow? Like, what does a typical day look like, and how would you suggest other people get there?
Yeah, I think there's been different seasons of my life where my typical day looks different. And it's like, what kind of like season am I in with my business? Like right now, I feel like it's very much in like a flow state of like, all right, I know I have to keep showing up every day. I know that I need to like, there's certain things that are just automatic now, like being on top of my email, being on top of like responding to people, having like certain staff that are very important to help, keep things running for me. And just making sure that I'm consistent. But in the beginning, it was, consistency and also like maybe a little more, like, I don't know, like I want to say hustling a little bit. Like it was like, okay, what is my strategy here? What are my goals? Like do I want to grow my account? You know, is that my goal right now where I'm trying to grow? Now I feel like I'm more in like a nurturing who I have kind of state. I'm just, you know, trying to like build community and making sure I'm consistently showing up for the people who are there and not getting down on algorithms and things like that. When I was launching the movie night journal, it was very much like, okay, how do I make a journal? And how do I get this thing made? What kind of people do I need to design it? And what, you know, are the textures in the book and different colors of the ribbon for the bookmark and types of gold for the front page, like every little detail in the process. And, that was like a very big undertaking for months, you know, trying to plan it all and make it all come together. But I mean, I think my thought, and for other people with something like this, is kind of like having your end goal in mind. Like, you know, when for the journal, for instance, it was like, okay, I know I want to have a physical product that people can use in their homes, like we want to use. And I know that I want it to, you know, how I kind of want it to look and what I want it to bring for people. How do I do that? You know, so I just like dove into researching how to do these things. So I think like having like an open mind and like being willing to learn something and being like, I don't know how to do this, whether you want to go the route of like finding a coach that can help you do these things and help you, like who's been there and done that and can help walk you through it. Or if you have like a mentor who's done that and they can help share that information with you. Or like, if you're kind of like me, I'm like a YouTube university, like pull it together kind of person, like, you know, and just being willing to like kind of take the steps and just taking it bit by bit, and, you know, maybe having a goal of when you want it done by. Like I think being a journalist, I'm very deadline driven. So I'm like, okay, I want it by, you know, summer, once school's out, that's when I want it done. So it was like kind of a fun little deadline project for me. But yeah, I mean, nowadays it's like making sure every day I'm showing up, and I usually have to like have a list of like to-dos again with my deadlines. Like, okay, I have to get all this done before my kids get off the bus, you know? And then I just like, I'm checking things off and I'm happy for everything I get done.
Yeah, I love that. I've noticed that you very much will take on a project and put your full effort into those efforts of what are those things, what are the achievable tasks along the way to get to that end result. Is that a skill that you learned from, you mentioned journalism, but is that a skill you've always had, or what helped you to develop that for yourself? Because I feel like self-discipline is a big piece of entrepreneurship, because
that's true.
Unless you have a coach kind of telling you what to get done next, you really have to be able to do it yourself. So
right.
How did you develop that?
You know, maybe it is something I've kind of had. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've definitely had a lot of things I've started that I haven't done, like my garden. Like that was a great project for a while. I had a dog collar business for a while that was like, oh yes, like this is, and I was sewing custom dog collars and things, and I made a website. And then it was like, once I got it all done, I was like, oh, but like the advertising selling part, I'm not very good at. And then it just like went away. I actually just got an email today from Google, like, do you still, just for doggies, you need to log in before we deactivate your account? And I was like, wow, that's a blast from the past. I haven't used that email
website.
in years. I know, right?
Something.
But, yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like, I am so goal driven, and I just love like having a goal that I want to do, no matter if it's small or if it's big, or like I'm currently working on like 40 things I want to do. And I feel like it's just like the best thing for me right now, because I've got like, I could just wake up and be like, what goal do I want to check off this week or today? You know, what can I do? And that's just like the dopamine hit that I love. So I think, I don't know that I would say, it's funny that you say like being very driven. I don't see myself as a very driven person. I know you think I'm a very driven person.
Because you are.
But I guess it's like, I'm like driven for very odd things, I guess. And I just, it's like the little things. So you have to find
you. So you have to
things
find
that
what
excite
excites
me.
you.
Exactly.
Sure.
Like that would be like finding what like gets you excited and wanting to accomplish. And I think that like if you're doing something that doesn't excite you, like I feel like you gotta like think about what you're doing, because it is going to be hard if you're trying to do something that doesn't naturally get you excited. That's going to be that much harder to wake up every day and trying to be motivated to get that done, and you're going to be fighting your whole way towards that battle. So the first step is finding something that you are truly excited about, that I think will get you towards completing your goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious with that, what have your kids picked up on and mimicked of yours, seeing you find those passion projects, those things you're excited about, and what have you seen in translation with them doing that for themselves?
I think the biggest thing I've seen has been with my oldest. She's 15, and she's told me like, Mom, like, I love how you just go for your goals and like, you just come up with these things you want to do and you just make it happen. I love that. And that was like the best compliment to me, because I was like, oh, I'm glad you see that. Cause, sometimes I just see like hobbies and things that I've started, but maybe and I got to a certain point and then they weren't fun anymore. And then they're like dropped, but she sees it as like, no, you did it though. You did it. You achieved this goal. So I've seen her do things like make vision boards. My youngest daughter, she's 7 now, she also got in on making some vision boards with us.
Wow.
Yeah. Like just
That's
having
so cute.
I know, little things that they, just thinking about what they want to do. With my son, I feel like it's a little bit harder. He's very much like lives in the moment, which I think is great. And he does think in the future about things that he really likes, like football games and things like that. But, that's out of his control of the outcome of those games. But we're working on that. He's the one that we're still homeschooling right now. So we, take it year by year with each kid, and he's homeschooling this year. So we're like planning on what are some things you'd like to do this year and what are some goals we want to have. Because I do think that's, really important to have something in mind that you want to achieve, especially so that you can look back and be like, hey, remember when we discussed this and you said this was something you wanted to do? Look, now we did it.
Yeah, I think that is a benefit of homeschooling, where you can tailor the content and the education touch points so much more uniquely towards each of the kids. And you are so good at doing that, really paying attention to what your kids excel at, what their interests are. And as far as the creative process of building your own business or helping with the product that you're selling, how have they been involved in the different pieces of that? How has that worked for you and your family?
Well, with our movie night journal, my oldest, again, I feel like she has such a talent for knowing what looks good together. Like she's got this eye for no, you should move that here, or, hang it this way, or no, tuck your shirt like this, she's just got this great eye that I do not have at all.
Yeah.
And so she actually helped do a lot of the layout for the journal. She, also designed the colors for the sticker sheets and what stickers we wanted to do, because there's a fun sheet in every journal, and helped design the blanket that we have, and then the other two have helped with packing packing orders, getting them out.
That's the real stuff.
Yeah,
right there
exactly.
too, yeah.
Right around Christmas, we were all piled in the room together, have a little conveyor belt line of okay, this order, you add this, you tape this, you're adding the stickers, you're adding the flyers, you're closing it up. So that was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. And do you feel like do they ever ask you questions directly about owning your own business? Or do you feel like at this point, it's just something that's so ingrained in what they've always known that maybe those are lessons that they're just absorbing?
I think, It's mostly absorbing. My oldest does ask me a little more questions, I think, now as she's getting closer to like college and things like that. She's thinking more about how she might see her life in the future. But yeah, I don't think, I think a lot of it is just modeling and making sure they know, like, I think because I'm like physically not going out somewhere for work, sometimes it can be a little confusing of like, okay, mom, okay, she's going to work, but she's just going in that room and she's, doing this. So, a little bit of like, okay, yeah, this is my work, or this video that we're doing right now, this is for my work. And I actually do pay them. They get a salary, but they also get like cash, at the time of our shoots. And I think that helps a lot too, of like realizing, like putting what we're doing with what my work is. And, I think that makes it a lot of fun for them too. Makes them want to participate more.
Real cash should be like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's such a neat opportunity, because just like my husband grew up with his dad owning a car lot, and they were there scrubbing the cars, doing detailing work, moving the cars, well, not moving the cars around for a while, because that and not till they were older. But I do think that there is so much value in seeing how owning a business is very much a lifestyle, where you do have to create boundaries of, this is work time, this is family time. And I think that can be challenging, but to actually have that, like, oh, this is actually how she's making a living. That is so cool that they get to be a part of that. What boundaries have you put in place? And I want you to think about your different stages, because the season we're in, or you're in, is a little bit different than it was, say, 6 years ago, having a baby. What are some boundaries that you put in place over the years to help keep your sanity and keep those boundaries so that they're kept, as much as you can, because there's not a perfect balance, but as much as you can, put those parameters in place. What's worked for you there?
A big thing for me has been like my phone usage around my kids, because when you work in social media, you can be on your phone all the time,
all day,
at
night.
Yes, exactly. So a big thing for me is not like, if I'm on my phone in front of the kids doing my work, it's usually only editing. I don't respond. I try not to respond to comments or DMs or things like that when they're around, because I think it gets to be looking like I'm just, looking on my phone, or, I mean, sometimes I'm typing, but like, if I'm editing, like, it's very obvious, like I am working and editing something. If I'm like responding to something, I try to do that on my computer. So there's, modeling behavior there, because I think it can get a little, confusing. And I think also, I've gotten a lot better at having boundaries when it comes to like what time I'm working, at least what time I'm working for other people, like responding to emails or deadlines or things like that. I used to be like, okay, sure, I'll work on this over the weekend. But now I'm like, no, I'm not filming over the weekend. You're going to have to give me an extra day. I may still film on the weekend, but like they have to give me an extra day, and not expect me to work on the weekend. Same with like after hours, emails. Like if I really feel like responding or it's not a big deal, I will. If not, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting until Monday, because if you don't have that line, you can be working around the clock. And I think for a while, there was a period where I felt like I had to, but I don't really feel like that anymore.
Are you drowning in your to-do list, stuck in the day-to-day tasks that keep you from scaling your business? You didn't start your dream to be buried in busy work. You started it to make an impact. That's why I am here to help you find how the truth and the beauty of delegation will help you to reach those goals much more quickly. I am offering a free discovery call to help you identify exactly what you need to do and how to find the right virtual assistant, which are actually, I have many graduates from my course, 60 Days to VA, who are masters in many, many different skill sets, so that you can find the right virtual assistant for you and you're able to be the CEO that you are meant to be. Imagine focusing on what you do best while a skilled VA handles the rest. It's time to ditch the overwhelm and step into your next level of success. And you can book your free call below at camillewalker.co. we can build your dream business together. Yeah, that's huge. Because no one else is going to put those parameters in place for you.
Right.
You have to do it for yourself, which I think it can be a hard transition where you go from like hustle, 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 everything's new, you have the energy for it. And then you get to a place where you're like, if I keep going at this pace, I'm going to burn out. Like there's just not, you have to put a line there. So I'd love to hear about modeling resilience with your kids and how that works for you in real life.
Yeah, I think, man, that's a good one. I think it's important for kids to see you, not everything always work out, like to see you fail sometimes, because then that way it's less scary for them, because there will be times when they fail. We all fail. But if we try to hide that, then I think it makes it feel even worse when they're going through that, because they think, well, my parents have never failed. They're perfect. They do everything right, and letting them know, like, I think a big lesson that it took me a while to learn was like, I can change my mind and it's okay. Like I can decide I don't want to garden anymore and it's not my thing. And I invested all this money and like did all this stuff to try to do this, but I don't want to do it anymore. And that's okay. Yeah. It's okay to let my dog collar business go. Like it's okay to change your mind and to be like, I worked on this and it was great for a while, but it doesn't excite me anymore. It's not something I want to do, and to let it go, or to say like, okay, I thought I was going to make it really big with this business, and it's not working out, or I'm losing money right now. Like, I think it's good to prepare them for that, like to just know, and to know that it's okay, and that it's not, you're not a failure because something isn't working out, or because something isn't going according to plan, or even, if a plan fails, it doesn't mean you're a failure.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I think as grownups or as women, we think, oh, I've got to figure this out. And this is what I chose. And I've got to stick with it, especially when money and time is involved, because we think, oh, I've already put so much time into this. But for our kids, especially where they're going through, trying new sports or new activities or even new friends, and being like, oh, I already invested so much into this. And to show them, to model for them, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to look at the situation and say, this isn't serving me the way it used to, or maybe my interests have changed, and that's okay. So I think that is fantastic that you're doing that for them, because that goes on through your life. The older you get, the more you realize like, oh, this doesn't have to be permanent. And there's a lot of freedom in that, I can change my mind. I love that you brought that up, because that's been a big theme in advice that I give a lot of women that I coach, is that a lot of times they'll get stuck in a business idea or something that didn't go well or whatever. And it's saying, what if you try it this way? And guess what? You could change your mind. If this doesn't work out exactly the way you thought it would, or if you need to take more time to get it done or to develop it or to change, that's okay. And that idea of just releasing that control is monumental. So I think that's awesome. When you do have success and have your wins, I would love to hear about how you celebrate those at home and for yourself and with your family.
Man, that's a good question. I think I probably could be a little bit better about like enjoying my wins. I think sometimes it's, like, yay, I did it. And then like there's the like crash almost of like, now what, what's next? So I think that's why it's like fun for me right now to have like 40 things I'm trying to do, because every time I check something off,
every
I'm like,
year
okay,
you'll do 41 by 41.
I know. I'm probably going to have to, I'll start working on 50 like immediately once I turn 40. At least I'll give myself more time. But yeah, I want to be a little bit better about celebrating. I know like you and I have talked about this, with like the big goal of like paying off our homes. And for me, it was like, oh, we did it. Like, okay, now we're saving for a pool, which was great. And, I loved working on that next goal. But I know you like took the time to be like, okay, we're going to have a picnic on our lawn and drive and see your old homes. And, I was like, man, that's a good idea. I definitely,
I forgot about that. So even really? I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. That was cool.
Yes. I love that so much. Yeah. So Yeah, I think it is important to like celebrate wins. I definitely talk about it. I don't know if I do like anything ceremonious. I don't think you have to, but I think that's really awesome if you do. Right now, every time I check something off my list, I'm posting about it and sharing it, and that has been really fun for me because I feel like I'm also like
that.
a document, you know,
Bringing
it's kind of like a
people
journal
along.
entry
Yeah.
for me too, to go back and look at. So yeah.
Well, maybe that should be a goal for both of us is like when you're making the goal, what is the celebration of the goal going to be?
Yeah. I
You know,
like
and maybe
that.
a share on a story is enough. And that is a celebration because it's an acknowledgement. In fact, I just shared one today that I just
Yay.
hit 600 days of closing my fitness rings on
Oh my
watch.
gosh, 600 days.
know.
I remember when you hit a year and I was like, that's
A 100.
crazy.
It was when I hit,
Oh
I
my
hit a 100.
gosh.
That was the original. And then I hit a year. And now I'm like, oh, I'm at 600. But now I'm like, okay, when do I hit 1,000? So immediately I was like,
gosh.
okay, September
Right.
2026, I will hit 1,000 days.
My gosh.
But I need to figure out how I'm celebrating that one because
You really should.
that's
You need
part of
like,
the assignment.
I don't even know. I'm like, does it have to be fitness related or can it be completely like
no, it's a vacation to Disney, of course.
get in some more steps, close your rings at Disney?
That's a good idea.
Day 1000.
Okay, so I would love to hear what your plan is with, or I guess not plan, but our kids see us struggle. And especially as our kids get older, the problems get bigger and the struggles get harder. And how have you modeled what to do or how you deal with struggle?
You know, I think that can be hard for parents to let their kids see them struggle. I think that can be really hard to do. You don't want them to like worry about you. You know, want to be the strong one and things like that. But I think one thing I feel like I'm good at, you could ask my kids if they agree, but I do try to be honest and communicate. Like communication is like so big for me. So, if I'm, you know, having a tough day or if I snap or something, like I do try to tell them like, hey, I'm sorry, like come back and apologize and tell them like, you know, maybe not like super details like this and this is going on, but you know, like I've been doing this all day and this happened and you know, I'm sorry when you said this, I just snapped, you know. One time I threw a bagel at my youngest and hit her in the head. And she was like so shocked.
Really, that's just so, I just imagine the look on her face. Like it would be, I wish to be a fly on the wall at that point. I bet it
Yes.
was. Yeah.
She was like very upset, shocked. And then she like went to her room. We were both throwing a fit actually. Like she was throwing the fit and getting mad. And then I just literally threw a bagel. And then, she went to her room and like kind of like we both calmed down for a minute and I apologized. She was like, why did you throw a bagel at me? Like, yeah, I think that'd be something we laugh at later, but,
that's a real moment. Yeah. Those are really emotions.
It was very real,
Absolutely.
you know, but I feel like it is important to like be able to talk about stuff and to let them know, you know, like they probably know that we're not perfect, but to let them know that we're aware that we're not perfect also, I think is important and that we have hard days too.
Yeah. And that throwing a tantrum or throwing a bagel happens and it's not our most beautiful moment.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's so real. And I think with all of this and everything that you've shared so far, and it's very clear from people that are following you and know you, is that you cherish your relationship so much with your children and you see them very much for the individuals that they are. And communication is so important to you. So if there were one big piece or takeaway about giving your children the capacity to dream big or to reach those goals, what would you say?
I think, one thing. I feel like I've read so many different books on, like mindset and things like that. And, you know, with kids and mindset and stuff. And, I think that is the biggest thing that I have learned in parenting is like just letting them know that they have like truly limitless potential. Because I think in the world, there's like so much that is going to be like closed off to them, or so much that they are going to hear that makes them think the world is closed off to them. Mm-hmm. So we have to work to counter those things that they're hearing and learning, and, oh, I can't do that, and I'm too this, or I'm too that, or, so we have to make sure that from us, they're not getting any of that. Like my parents, like that's one thing I think that they did well. I don't even know if it was intentionally, like they weren't, like you can do whatever you want. Like that wasn't something that they said to me, a lot or did. But the fact that they never shot down my big dreams, like I am going to be a singer, I am going to be an actress, I am going to do, and they never were like, well, you really need to do this, or, that might be hard because of XYZ. Like they never put any kind of doubt in my head. So I just always thought like, okay, like I could do this. And like, I did have other people later in life, like say these things like, oh, well, you might need to do that. Or just, my natural realization of like, I did a play and I realized I am a very bad actress. I cannot act at all. So that like taught me like, okay, this might not be my thing, but that's okay. But it never came from them. Like I never felt like my parents didn't believe in me. And that went a long way for me. And, I think it helped that I had big dreams and ambitions, and I was just always a dreamer. So that, helped. And I think it could be harder for kids who maybe aren't as vocal or aren't as ambitious, or don't have those things. So having a little bit of like whatever you want to do and like encouragement, I think is important. As well as, so this is kind of like two things, like that's part one. And then part two is like understanding and knowing that each of our kids are so unique and different, and not like extensions of us, but their own selves with their own personalities and gifts and talents that might have nothing to do with us. And I know that like we think like, oh, like my kid has to be in this sport and like this, and they have to be the best at this age. And like, I don't know why there's so much pressure on kids to like, oh, you got to like make the travel baseball team and, be the best at this. And like, we want to like brag and show off our kids and whatnot. But like, then you become an adult and it's like, does that really matter? Like, you gotta have fun, but you've also got to like just realize that they can do other things, and it might have nothing to do with like a sport or a subject, or, it could be like the most random thing that they are really into and really good at. Maybe they're really good at puzzles or like Rubik's cubes or like, botany. I don't know, but it's just like what are they interested in, and what can you dive more into, and what can you expose them to, and being open to something, even if you think that it's really odd or strange or, whatever, or seeing their talents, like I told you, Jada's really like a visual person. That doesn't really exactly translate to like, oh, so she's really good at math, but, just finding ways that she can exercise that and have fun with it, and recognizing them for that. It doesn't mean you have to enroll them in like, well, now I'm going to put you in an interior design class. Like maybe you're just complimenting them and like, hey, where do you think I should put this in my room? So yeah, I think just being aware of their unique abilities and unique gifts that they've been blessed with, and reminding them that they can do whatever they want.
That's awesome. Well, this has been absolutely amazing, as no surprise to me. And everyone can follow along with you on Instagram. Tell us a little bit more about where they can find you.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. It's just my name, Jennifer Borget. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My blog is Cherish365. I haven't updated in a while, but Cherish every day, Cherish365. That's there. And our family movie night journal also is, you can find that, anywhere you can find me, but familymovienightjournal.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And everyone, make sure that you attend our closing ceremony. It's not a ceremony. It's just a closing online live
call it a
event,
ceremony.
closing ceremony. Make sure that you're there because we're giving away some items, and Jennifer is going to be a part of that with her movie night items. So thank you, Jennifer. You're amazing. And thank you for sharing and just being so beautiful. You're such an amazing human, and I'm grateful to be your friend.
I'm grateful to be your friend. Thank you.
Hey CEOs, thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, please let me know in a comment and a 5-star review. You could have the chance of being a featured review on an upcoming episode. Continue the conversation on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast. And remember, you are the boss.